Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. Today I wanted to talk about hydroponics in my greenhouse. Alright, so what we have here is we have this bed here, and over here we have a reservoir that's filled with water, and that water has nutrients in it. So you can see it's kind of got like a reddish brownish tinge. And what that is I'm using liquid fertilizer. So you can get this at like your hardware store, you know, Walmart, hydroponic specific stores. Like we have a store called Grow, and I could get this stuff. You can get it on Amazon. There's all sorts of different fertilizers, and you can see they have a number on the bottom, and the number is like how like different parameters they have in it. So for growing different things, you want the numbers to be a certain value, and I'm still learning on what numbers are best for what type of growing. I'm pretty much guessing right now, which I know is not good, but I need to look into that better, and my plan is this year I want to learn more about that. So it's one of my things, my to-do list items for this growing season. So as I learn about that, I'll probably make a video of it and explain it to you guys, at least my understanding of it at that point. So anyway, so we have this reservoir. It's got water in it. I have this big black hose here, and then it pumps water all the way through, and then it comes out to here. So you can see right here, I just have this pipe, and it's got a bunch of holes in it, and the water just sprays down. I just kind of cover it up so that I don't get a bunch of algae and stuff going on, because when it's spraying, there's like a lot of splatter. So, so what happens is the water fills up this bed here, and this bed has these expanded clay pellets, right? So the brown things are expanded clay, and then the white things are kind of like, it's kind of like a pumice stone. So you can get these online. I got mine on Amazon. You can get them at like landscaping places or like hydroponic stores, things like that. And the reason why I use that is because it's very light, and it lets water flow through it, so it doesn't like clog up, and it will hold on to a little bit of water. So this stuff holds on to water better than this stuff does. So you want to try and find something that will hold on to a little bit of water, but you don't want it to stay like sopping wet, because then your roots will rot, right? So for this type of growing, this is called a flood and drain system. And what that means is, you can see here I have this little area that's cleared out. And what that is when the water flows into this bed, right, the water level will go up, up, up. And then when it gets to a certain point, it's going to drain out. So that doesn't use any electricity. That's just using the fluid dynamics that will naturally occur. And I'll explain how that happens in a second. So you see this white piece of PVC here, and this tube sticking out. So let me take this off, and you can see that there's a tube, right? And then that tube goes right out the bottom. Let's see if I can. So there you go. So it goes right out the bottom, and then it comes out, and then it goes into my reservoir that the pump is in. So it's a continuous cycle. So what happens is, as the water level rises up this pipe, right, it's filling up the bed, and then when that gets to the top of that pipe and water starts flowing in, then it will create a suction. And when it creates a suction, that's because no more air is in there. So once the suction starts, it's going to start a siphon, and it's going to force the water through that tube back into the reservoir. So it'll drain this bed really quickly, and it doesn't use any electricity for that. It's just the natural system that occurs. So you have that cover on top of the pipe, and that will allow the siphon to occur. Because once the water gets to the top of the tube on the inside and it starts flowing down that tube, then once so much water is flowing down that tube that there's no air going through it, it'll create a suction. And then once the water level gets low enough in this bed, once it gets low enough, it will not cover the top of that tube anymore, and then the siphon will break. So it's a really neat system. So this is called a flood and drain system, or an ebb and flow system, some people might call it. So the water level rises, and then it drains. It just rises and drains. And the reason why you do that is if you have your roots constantly in water, they'll rot. So you need to get that oxygen there. So by flooding it, you're giving the plants water, and then you drain it to give them oxygen. And it's just this constant cycle. So you basically want to try and find a balance between keeping the roots wet and letting them get air. So in the summer, obviously, you need to wet them more often because the water is going to evaporate quicker. But in the winter, you don't need to wet them that often. So in the summer, I'm probably going to do 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off, just to like make sure that everything has like some time to get air to it. And the other reason why is to save electricity. I don't want the pump running constantly. Oh, now you can hear the pump just kicked on. So what we have here is you can see that the water is coming right out those tubes, and you can see it splashing a lot. So let me cover this back up. So once we go over here, this water level is going to start to rise, and then we'll start seeing it come out of this tube. Sorry for the weird camera angles, but it's kind of hard to film this stuff using my phone. So yeah, we'll see that. And then you can see I have this line here with a valve, and that's just because I have a outdoor pond pump in here, and it's made for high volume, and because I'm only using 3/4 inch hose, I'm trying to like relieve some of the pressure just to make it easier on the pump. But I usually don't have it fully open. I usually turn it down a little bit. So I usually turn it down so that the water's not flowing so fast. But now you can see the water, the siphon started, and it's suctioning all that water out. And then you're going to see that the siphon's going to stop, like the water's going to slow down. Or it should. So you can see the water, the siphon's going. Let me break the siphon, it's not breaking. So then the water stopped, right? So now you're seeing the water's rising. And now you're starting to get water to come out. Now the siphon's starting. There we go. Now we have a full siphon, and this water is draining right out. So that's the flood and drain system. Since I've been messing with it, the siphon's not breaking. I have too much water going to it. It's very picky. I need to better design it. So you have to adjust like the amount of water that's going out with how fast it's coming in. So I think I'm pushing too much water in, so the siphon's not breaking. But once you get it plugged in, it's pretty reliable. So the other method is if you just have a constant level of water and all the plants float. So that's like a raft system. But when you do that, so that the roots don't rot, you need to pump in a lot of oxygen. So you have to have big air pumps going with air stones, and you have to keep like lots of oxygen bubbled in that water so that the roots always get air coming to them. So those are the two most common methods. And then the other method is nutrient film technique. And basically that's if you have just like a thin layer of water at the bottom of like a tube, and then your plants are growing on the top of the tube, and you have the roots coming down, and they're just like barely touching that thin layer of water. So they always have a thin layer of water, and they always have oxygen touching the roots. So those are the three types that I'm aware of, but I like the flood and drain better because it's just less to worry about, I think. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you liked this video, please hit the subscribe button. Check out my other videos if you want to, and if you don't, that's okay. But I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to stay warm. All right, bye.